Rowan Atkinson, who is now 65 years old, is best known for playing the funny Mr. Bean. However, the actor is making a comeback this weekend as a much more serious character on both the big and small screens. Rowan Atkinson played the make-up French detective Jules Maigret again in the most recent repeat of the TV show Maigret, which aired on ITV. But even though the show only ran for 2 seasons, Atkinson has made a lot of money from his long and successful career in television and movies. Even though he became famous for his role in Blackadder, the actor made most of his money by playing slapstick characters like Mr. Bean and Johnny English. The Richest says that the movies were the turning point that led to Atkinson making a lot of money. At the box office, they made a combined total of £510 million or $618 million. Even though there were only 15 episodes of the first Mr. Bean series, the actor who played Mr. Bean made a lot of money from it. The Richest says that Atkinson made about £9 million from the sale of the show. It was shown on more airlines than any other in-flight entertainment and was sold in 94 different countries. The British actor has spent his money on both cars and real estate, 2 things that have always interested him. Today, let's look into the car collection of Rowan Atkinson. McLaren F1. It could be said that the F1 is the best car ever made. It still holds the record for being the fastest naturally aspirated production car, with a top speed of 243 miles per hour. The F1 was powered by a BMW-built 6.1-liter V12 engine that sent all of its 618 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque to the back wheels. You would be right if you thought that its power was too much for someone with more than 50 years of racing experience to handle. Jaguar MK7. Rowan's Jaguar MK7 is giving us a better look at the race car driver that lives inside of him. Even though it was basically a slower 4-door version of the XK120, he uses this Jaguar almost exclusively for racing, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be just as fun as the coupe version of the same model. His MK7 had a 3.4-liter straight-six engine with 160 horsepower that let it reach speeds of more than 100 miles per hour with ease. It took a painfully long 13.7 seconds to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour, but as the old saying goes, it's much more fun to drive a slow car fast than a fast car slow. Aston Martin V8 Zagato. Italian coach builder Aston Martin Zagato specializes in making small changes to one-of-a-kind sports cars, especially Aston Martins. The V8 Zagato is one of the most beautiful things that Aston Martin Zagato has ever made, and it's also one of their specialties. This Aston was not only beautiful, but it also ran well, which was sometimes too much for the driver to handle. In 2001, Rowan had an accident while driving his Aston Martin around the Croft circuit. You guessed it, after that he spent about £220,000 to rebuild the Zagato, and then he sold it at an auction for £122,000. We are in no way saying that Rowan is a bad driver, but he has wrecked more than one rare and expensive car over the course of his life. Rowan was cast as Johnny English in the 2003 movie, so it shouldn't be a surprise that his choice of cars has some things in common with those of the famous British secret agent James Bond. In 1984, he went out and bought himself a 1977 Aston Martin V8 Vantage because of this. The movie Johnny English Strikes Again ended up using his car. Even though it didn't have any of the high-tech features that 007's Vantage did, like missile launchers, it was still a nice-looking car and had a powerful 5.3-liter V8 engine in the front that sent 390 horsepower to the back wheels. Just look at one of these amazing pictures to see how well Rowan fits in his Aston. We can't stop thinking about how great he looks in it. Vintage Ford Falcon. The 1964 Ford Falcon has to be one of Rowan's most controversial race cars. It was also involved in a crash, but this time it was a full head-on collision at the 2014 Goodwood Revival, where Rowan was racing in the Shelby Cup. The version of the Falcon he drove, which was called the Sprint Edition, was not a regular model. This meant that its suspension was stiffer, its exhaust system was louder, and its 4.7-liter V8 engine could make up to 164 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Rowan decided to sell his Falcon through Silverstone auctions for about $80,000 in 2019. 1939 BMW 328. The fact that Mr. Bean has a 1939 BMW 3.8 shows that he has been interested in cars for a long time, well before the 1950s. His 328 Milli Miglia Roadster was a beautiful bare silver sports car with no top. It had a straight-six engine that was 2 liters and made only 79 horsepower. It goes without saying that a car this old won't have a very high horsepower rating. However, in the late 1930s, anything with more than 50 horsepower was considered to be very luxurious. The BMW 328 was a stripped-down race car that only weighed 1,800 pounds because of how it was built. Also, it had no safety features or tools to help the driver in any way. Because of this, it was a very competitive vehicle. In the past, he has raced at the Goodwood Festival of Speed and had an amazing lap time on a BBC show called Top Gear. A lot of people don't take Mr. Bean seriously as a car enthusiast, but we're here to tell you that he's probably one of the most daring celebrity drivers out there. Because of this, he doesn't just let his collection of cars sit around and gather dust. Instead, he pushes his most prized possessions to their absolute limits. But Atkinson's love of cars has also cost him. From 1997 to 2015, he owned a rare McLaren F1, which was in an accident with an Austin Metro in October 1999 and in a major crash in August of 2011. Both of these mishaps took up a lot of his time and cost him a lot of money. Atkinson is said to have lost control of the car before it caught on fire. This caused the car to get a lot of damage that took more than a year to fix and led to the biggest insurance claim in British history, which was £910,000. In 2015, the famous comedian got a divorce from his wife and moved into a £4 million cottage in London. His ex-wife, who worked as a makeup artist for BBC, stayed in the £21 million home in the city. When they broke up, they were in the middle of building a home in Oxfordshire that would cost £11 million. People say that Atkinson owns several properties all over England. Atkinson also owns a production company called Hindmek, which is said to have made him millions of dollars behind the scenes. According to The Independent, the company made £1.9 million in sales every year in 1997. During that time, the comedian was the company's only director, and his then-wife, Sunetra, was the company's secretary. He gave himself a salary of £1,340,000 sterling every year. The 1997 article also said that Atkinson was a director for Tiger Television, which made a profit of £450,000 before taxes, and also Tiger Aspect Productions, which made a profit of £960,000. Atkinson has been acting for a long time, in both movies and plays, even though he is best known for playing silly characters on TV. In 1981, Atkinson won both a BAFTA and an Oliver Award for his performance in the play Rowan Atkinson in Review, which was put on London's West End. In addition to these awards, Rowan Atkinson's performance as Johnny English has been considered for a European Film Award in the category of Best Actor. He was also given a Commander of the British Empire, or CBE, in the 2013 birthday honors for his work in the theater and with charities. And that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.